We finally get to see Go's parents this episode. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, episode 15 of the new Pokemon anime titled Snow Day. Where is Cubone's bone just dropped, and in this episode, we finally get to meet Go's parents and see him help out a Cubone who just lost its bone. How's this gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Well, let's find out. As the episode begins, we see that it is snowing outside of the Sakuragi labs. Ash and go inside the lab and meet the professor, but he tells them that some of their systems are down and that maintenance needs to be done. So because of that, it would be easier if both Ash and Go went home for the next few days. And true to form, Ash cares more about the fact that they won't be eating breakfast here instead of the Institute being down. While Ash and Go are packing up to leave, we learn a bit more about Go's family after he calls to let them know they're coming home. His dad is a systems engineer and his mom's a programmer. They own a business where they do system maintenance. We'll learn a bit more about them later, but like I said about Koharu, meeting Go parents is a very nice change of pace, especially in a series that focuses almost exclusively on preteen kids. He tells Ash that he wants to get them a present, and so the next day, Go and Ash are heading to the bus stop and the train station respectively when we see that Go has something that he is carrying. Presumably these are the gifts. When they approach the bus stop, Scorbunny pulls Go, excited to go to his house, and in doing so, Go drops one of his gifts. Ash tries to catch up with him, but the bus is long gone. Then, Go and Scorbunny arrive at the apartment where his family lives. When he enters, his grandmother, Tomei, is inside waiting for him. He introduces her to his Scorbunny before heading back to the kitchen where she's making some stew for the entire family. Go hands her gift, which are some meat buns, and she leaves for a karaoke tournament, vowing to win a trophy. We learn his parents' name here, and like with a lot of other characters, it follows a pun convention. For Go's family, it seems to be its words that have to do with movement. The father's name is Iko, which is a pun on the word to go. The mother's name is Kurune, which is a pun on to come. And like I mentioned earlier, the grandmother's name is Tomei, which could be a pun on the Japanese word tomare, or a stop sign. Even their company name is named Go Systems. We learn that Go's parents worry about Go quite a bit, especially due to the abrupt nature of the phone call they just received. They're worried that he might have gotten kicked out of the lab. We then see them flashbacking to Go as a child, where we see him obsessively researching things on his 6-monitor setup. Man, I'm jealous of Go. We learned that Go as a child was really cooped up in his room and only had Koharu as a friend of his age. However, before they can be done with their work, they get a call, so it looks like they're gonna have to work longer. We go back to Go's room where he's showing Scorbunny his room and his computer setup when he gets a call from his mom telling him that they're gonna have to do some more maintenance at the local hospital. We see in a flashback that it's something he's heard since his entire childhood. But it is a nice twist that, unlike Koharu, Go seems to understand and even appreciate that. He tells Scorbunny that his parents make dreams come true by helping people, and even decides to take the stew to them so they can enjoy it warm. He does notice that his gift is missing, but he doesn't seem to mind too much. I really like this about Go's character. To be honest, his parents really didn't give us insight on something we didn't know about Go before, but when Go responds to his parents the way he does, we learn a lot more about the type of person he is. And to me, it makes him look, well, like a lot more rounded of a character. In fact, I think his reaction being preceded by Scorbunny's reaction, something that would normally in this situation be very understandable, makes his reaction stand out quite a bit, and I like that a lot. As Go and Scorbunny head to the hospital to deliver the stew, they go through a park. But in doing so, they come across a Cubone who's being surrounded by 3 Mankeys. Go knows that the Cubone is at a massive disadvantage, but to his surprise, his Scorbunny jumps in and starts to fight the Mankeys, helping out the Cubone. During the fight though, one of the Mankeys steals the Cubone's stick club and they all run away. Seeing the Cubone cry, Go decides to help look for the Mankeys, and he brings out all of his Pokemon to search. After a funny bit where they all huddle up after feeling how cold it is, Go explains to them the situation, and they all go on their way to search for the stick club or the Mankey. By the way, and maybe this has always been a thing in the Japanese version, but the Cubone crying doesn't sound like a Pokemon crying. It sounds like a human crying, and it's kind of distressing. I'm sure that was on purpose, but still. Now, that was the first half of the episode. The second half of the episode, in my opinion, isn't nearly as interesting. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad, but it's just another standard episode where I thought the first one felt very different due to the family dynamic. Regardless, here's what happens. Go and his Pokemon look for the bone, talking to other nearby Pokemon but can't find it. Then we see that Ash has now arrived to Go's house, and when he doesn't find them there, calls to ask him where he's at. After they meet up near the park, Ash has an idea. He plans on using a Nana Berry to lure out the Mankeys, and so he does. After a quick battle, the Mankeys are defeated, and our heroes ask the Mankeys where they put the thick club, but it seems like they've lost it and aren't willing to say much more than that. Then, while they continue the search, Go's Butterfree brings about a Fearow who saw what happened to the thick club. He takes them to a pond where we're shown through a very cartoony style flashback what the Fearow saw. The Mankeys were playing catch with the thick club, but when it bopped one of them over the head, it got angry and threw it in the air, where it proceeded to land at the bottom of the pond. In order to retrieve it, Go pulls out his dugong, who finds the thick club and hands it back to the Cubone. I forgot to mention that while our heroes are following the Fearow to the pond, they're riding on Ash's Dragonite, so Go's parents, who had just finished their work at the hospital and are headed home, spot him. And I think that after Cubone gets its thick club back, things get a little bit more interesting again as we get to see Go's parents' personality. When they spot Go and Ash, they already know a bit about Ash and his Pikachu and everyone else. But this begs the question, if they already knew about Ash, then why did they say that Koharu was his only friend his age? I know you could argue maybe they meant when he was growing up, but it isn't implied like that. The dialogue that his mom says is, Koharu's about the only friend his age he's got. Did Go or Professor Sakuragi tell his parents about Ash, but just completely neglect to tell them his age? I guess it's supposed to imply that maybe he thought that Ash wasn't friends with Go, just workmates, which, if you think about it, that's not a good image that Go's parents are portraying of him. I mean, I know that in episode 3, Ash and Go butt heads, but yeesh, it can't be that bad, can it? Anyways, when Go introduces a Pokemon to his parents, the Cubone also pipes up, leading Ash to correctly surmise that the Cubone wants to go with him, so Go catches him in front of the parents. I'm going to talk about why that's important in a bit, but something that people mentioned earlier on Twitter, and I didn't notice this at first, is when Go catches Cubone, it doesn't get transferred away like when Ash caught Krabby, despite Go having a full party of 6. I know it's just for aesthetic purpose, and it would kind of ruin the flow of the story, so again, you can kind of forgive that. Anyways, afterwards, when he tries to tell him that he had a gift that he wanted to give them, but he doesn't have it, Ash pipes up and gives him the gift, because that's why he came to Go's house. Go gives it to his parents, and it turns out they're gloves because it's so cold. His parents thank him, and when Ash's stomach growls, they invite him to eat with them. The episode ends with everyone eating, having fun, and even Ash doing some singing, as he's presumably motivated by Go's grandmother winning the karaoke trophy. This is when Go's parents realize that they don't need to worry about Go anymore. He's not the recluse, unfriending guy that he was when he was a child. Now, I'm not one to judge gifts, but it is slightly funny that Go gives his parents glove because it's cold. Because even though it is a thoughtful gift, don't get me wrong, both at the beginning of the episode and in the middle of the episode, Go is surprised by how cold it is. Presumably, this means that most of the time, it's not cold, so the glove is kinda useless for the most part. But again, it's a nice gesture, it's a very thoughtful gesture, so I'm not gonna judge that. I try to think about the themes of episodes when I'm watching, and for a while, I thought they were gonna focus on something regarding Go, his parents, and the fact that they aren't there for him due to how busy they were. And that is there a little bit. In fact, when the entire Cubone search mission's going on, I'm expecting something to jump out at me regarding this, but that ends up not being the case. Well, not fully anyways. The theme for this episode is more about how Go accepts his parents, and now that his parents aren't going to be worried about him because they saw him not only with Ash and other Pokemon, but also saw him catch a Pokemon with their own eyes. It's a fine message, I'm not saying there's anything wrong, but it is a bit disappointing because I thought the first half focus had so much potential. The first half really focuses a lot on how Go's parents feel bad about not being there for him when he was a child. And the second half just kind of drops the ball on that. And I think it could have been a good focus because I do think that it's pretty subtly implied that Go's reclusiveness, his ability to not make friends, is because his parents weren't there when he was growing up. And in that sense, I really think they could have done something with that. Then again, this is a kid's television show, so you can't go too deep into psychoanalyzing a character. But I do think that it would have been a very interesting episode had they gone that route. As is though, it is a fine episode, and one I'd actually recommend watching. It's pretty easygoing for the most part, and while a big chunk of the second half is just a search scene, I think that the first half of the episode, as well as the ending, is wonderful. It's a good look into Go, his parents, his past, and in my opinion, it's really worth checking out. The next episode, people are predicting that Ash is going to capture Gengar. This is the same Gengar that was there from episode 11 and last episode. Will he? I guess we'll have to wait and find out. But anyways, that's it for my review of episode 15 of the new Pokemon anime. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think of this episode. You can also follow me on Twitter at TheRealPDGaming, and that's it. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.